we have this breaking news coming in, viewers, from Mizoram. As many as 29 more Myanmar Army personnel have entered the border district of Champhai, sources told Northeast Live. Sources said that the 29 Myanmar military personnel are currently at the Vaphai outpost of the Assam Rifles in Champhai district. Earlier in the week, over 40 Myanmar Army personnel had crossed over to Zokhawthar village in Champhai following assault by PDF rebels who took over at least 2 posts of the Myanmar military close to the Mizoram border. They were later flown out of Mizoram by Indian Air Force choppers and entered Myanmar through Tamu across Moreh. So, big story we are tracking at this point in time, viewers. So, breaking news coming in from Mizoram, in fact. As many as 29 more Myanmar Army personnel have entered the border district of Champhai, sources told Northeast Live. Sources said that the 29 Myanmar military personnel are currently at the Vaphai outpost. All right, to know more on this, we are being joined over phone line with our editor-in-chief, Wasbir Hussain. So, Wasbir, breaking news coming in, as many as 29 more Myanmar Army personnel have entered the border district of Champhai. Your take on this, Wasbir?
Yes, Northeast Live is learning from reliable sources that 29 Myanmar Army soldiers, they have entered Mizoram again today. This is in the district of Champhai. The 29 soldiers of the Myanmar Army, they had entered after their posts across the border in the western Chin state were overrun by troops, overrun by rebels belonging to the Chin National Defense Force. This is the breaking story at this point, Priya. 29 army soldiers, 29 Myanmar Army soldiers have entered India freshly today. They have entered India today. Earlier, during the last 3 days, there were 40 Myanmar Army soldiers who had entered Champhai district in Mizoram, and they were airlifted by Indian Air Force helicopters to Moreh, from where they were handed over to Myanmar authorities at the border with Tamu in the 2nd Division. Now today, 29 Myanmar Army soldiers entered India, entered the Champhai in Mizoram, and their posts on the Myanmar side were overrun by rebels belonging to the Chin National Defense Force. In fact, what sources are telling Northeast Live is that the Chin National Defense Force, after taking control of the Myanmar military post, had given a safe passage to these Myanmar army men to leave the place. They had given a safe passage to the Myanmar Army soldiers to leave the place. In fact, the army posts came to be overtaken by the rebels. They have taken over the control of this army post along the border with India, along the border with Mizoram, in fact, after which the rebels belonging to the Chin National Defense Force are reported to have given these Myanmar soldiers a safe passage to leave the place. That is what we are hearing. Now they are being taken care of by Indian authorities along the border, and we are hearing that, like in the previous occasion, even this time, 29 army soldiers will be flown out of Mizoram, and they will be sent across the border in Myanmar. Through Moreh in Manipur, in the last Indian town border with Myanmar. This is in the Manipur sector. So this is what is going to happen. Their airlifting may happen as early as tomorrow morning. That's what we are hearing, Priya.
So, Wasbir, can we expect more Myanmar Army personnel to enter India in the coming days?
Yes, we cannot rule that out. In fact, Monday witnessed the very severe fighting in the western Chin state just across Mizoram, and about 5,000 refugees belonging to the Kuki Chin ethnic stock, they crossed over into Zokhawthar area. Zokhawthar is a village of about 600 households in Champhai district of Mizoram, and these 5,000 refugees from Mizoram had entered on Monday. But beginning yesterday, these people have started returning home. And today, when I spoke to the Champhai Deputy Commissioner in the morning, he said that majority of most of these 5,000 refugees have since returned home, back home in Myanmar. So we have seen that during the last few days, first there were about 40 Myanmar Army soldiers escaped the fighting. They have entered into Indian territory in Champhai district. These 40 Myanmar soldiers comprise 2 officers and 38 other ranks. And thereafter, we have heard that there were 2 to 3 more Myanmar soldiers entered under similar circumstances. And today, of course, the latest breaking news that we have just broken is that 29 Myanmar Army soldiers had entered India again in Champhai district. Then after their posts were overrun by the rebels belonging to the Chin National Defense Force. And in fact, as we have reported, what we are hearing is that the Chin National Defense Force has given these Myanmar soldiers a safe passage to move out of that area. And tomorrow, most likely, these Myanmar soldiers will be airlifted by Indian Air Force choppers to another border, that is to Moreh, and thereafter they'll be sent across the border to Tamu. That's what we are hearing. But what is it that both the Indian authorities are not giving details of this development, neither are the Myanmarese authorities. But it is obvious that there are coordination among the authorities on both sides of the border, because here we are talking about army soldiers crossing into another country. Priya.
All right, Wasbir, thank you so much for all those details. And earlier in the day, Champhai Deputy Commissioner James Lalrinchana informed Northeast Live that more than half of the estimated 5,000 refugees who had fled the heavy fighting between the Myanmar military and pro-civilian rebels in the western Chin state and had entered Mizoram on Monday have started returning home in Myanmar. Heavy fighting was witnessed in the Chin state across Mizoram's Zokhawthar, a village of around 600 households on Sunday and Monday. The military junta faced reverses in the area after rebels, largely belonging to the Chin National Front or CNF, took control of 2 military posts, forcing 40 Myanmar Army personnel to cross over and take shelter in India. The 40 Myanmar Army troopers, including 2 officers who had crossed over on Monday and were facilitated by Indian authorities in spending the night, were airlifted by the Indian Air Force to Moreh in Manipur, from where they crossed over into Myanmar on Tuesday. After the Three Brotherhood Alliance, a coalition of 3 rebel armies opposed to the junta, launched a coordinated strike against the Myanmar military in October and took control of several towns along the border with China. Anti-junta rebels and other forces across Myanmar appears to have been emboldened to target symbols of the junta-led government in Myanmar. Forces like the CNF were obviously monitoring the situation in the northern Shan state bordering China, where the rebels were attacking the government soldiers. Rebels in the western Chin state bordering India too intensified their offensive soon thereafter. While the rebels, according to reports, have seized a key border trade point in northern Shan state bordering China, anti-junta forces like the CNF have taken control of a trade route in western Chin state across Mizoram. Meanwhile, no major comments have yet come in from the authorities in Myanmar and India on the situation or the possible road ahead. All right, so we have a breaking news coming in, viewers. The United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres has expressed his deep concern over the escalating conflict in Myanmar. So, big update coming in. Well, the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres has expressed his deep concern over the escalating conflict in Myanmar. According to the UN, the number of people displaced by the fighting has reached 2 million, and the Secretary General appealed to all sides to protect non-combatants and open access for humanitarian aid.